Well, good evening, everybody. How is everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Not your normal intro tonight. I actually made dinner for my wife tonight, so it pushed my schedule along. Wasn't able to prep quite as much as I'd like, so I said, you know what? Forget all the fancy stuff. I'm just going to jump on here and we'll talk about the Shadowdark recap that we had because we had our session last night. I'll also talk about the white box, the swords and wizardry adventure last week. We're going to talk about that. I am going to talk to you about the newest Crit Happens Hex Crawl of Horror. I have a new issue out. It's available in the store, and we're going to talk about that as well. So welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Hope everybody's doing well. Some of the cast of characters that kind of hang out here, they're actually playing second edition tonight, which I was going to do, but I said, you know what, I gotta jump on here. I gotta talk to the people. I gotta get on here and start, being faithful in my commitments, especially to the channel here, and hopefully I have been. Leave me some comments if you say, Paul, you need to step up your game. Okay. If that's what I need to do, hey, you tell me. Happy to oblige. Listen, I know that I need to step it up, so it'll be okay. Good. All right. Also, by the way, if you're coming in here, we're going to jump into it. If you're brand new here, if you've never been here before, welcome. Thank you for being here, checking it out. My name is Paul. I'll be your DM for a little while, and what I try to do is I try to help new GMs and DMs. Run epic games. So how do I do that? Well, I do these lives and talk about the games that I'm playing in and sharing some thoughts and ideas on that. I try to put tools out into the world that's going to help you as a DM, where we talk about things. If you haven't checked out my latest video, which is about character death, my character death, actually, the video on that, I'll put some links here. I'll put them down below. I'll put them everywhere. Don't you worry about it. And so yeah, we'll talk about, it talks about how to deal with character death in your game, some options that I use, especially with my learn to plays. And so I try to do an assortment of things to help new DMs and GMs and, veteran GMs as well. Sometimes we forget, sometimes some of the very basics. And so if you're new getting into the hobby, good for you. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. So let's start off with the Wizards, Swords and Wizardry. And in fact, I made a bid today on the actual box set. I hope that they get back to me on my bid for the Swords and Wizardry box set. I found it at a pretty good price. But I don't know what's going on with that. Do you ever message people on Facebook, like Facebook Marketplace, and say, hey, is this still available and all this? And then you don't get any answers back. I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, are you wanting to sell this or what? And so hopefully I'll get me a nice little box set for a really good price. But I have the white box here, which is Swords and Wizardry compatible. And the character I was playing in this particular game, this game was run by Joe the Lawyer. And, this is my first time being him being my DM. He did a great job. He was practicing for the upcoming ShireCon. And so we were kind of the guinea pigs for that, and he found out that the dungeon probably too long. It was a deep dungeon. I think we did the Temple of the Iron God, and if you want to watch that game, I think that was yeah. So yeah, you can find it on the channel here. If you want to watch that live deal there, where there's a sudden epiphany that just says this is not going to work for the con. This is not going to work. And so that in itself was worth the price of admission, just to hear him go, yeah, this is not going to, it's too long for the con. And that's wisdom, right? That's good. I mean, look, he found out and said, hey, this is going to be too long. And so for con games, got to keep it pretty tight. Otherwise, you're going to be scrambling to, take a game that's much larger and try to shrink it down. I think it's much easier to take a game that is small and expand it. That's just me, though. You tell me down in the comments what you think. Is it easier for you to take a game an adventure that's smaller and expanded, or is it easier for you to take a larger adventure that you've got your kind of in over your head and you go, oh, I got to shrink this thing down. So you let me know down in the comments. So I wound up playing Kane, the Dwarven Demon Hunter. And you know what? It worked out. I wasn't a bad character. And I have played, you know, old school Dungeons and Dragons. I have all my first edition stuff over back here. And I got my Beckme stuff, and I got my, I got all my stuffs. And so I've played a various assortment. And once again, I enjoy the limitations that a game provides. Versus you can do anything and everything you want. You can, from your imagination and so forth, that's true. But I, once again, enjoy games with limitations, that you can't do everything you want. You have to kind of outthink the game a little bit within the construct of the rules. And so with Kane, this was really just a one hit. This was like not any character development. This is just a one shot, get in there and just start swinging. Well, I had spells. So I had, I had Magic Missile, I had Sleep, I had Protection from Evil, I had Hold Portal. Didn't get to use that. I always want to use Hold Portal if I can. I just think that's where you can just hold the door, because there's always something to try to break in and trying to get you. So I used my spells, was using those, and then eventually I used my Great Axe, and also I had some salt. I had some Blessed Salt, which I could try to use with the undead. That didn't work quite like I wanted it to. Also, that I could not turn undead. That didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. But you get. And then the funny thing is that I wound up using my axe, and everybody kind of looked at me like, they said, like, you have an axe? Yeah, I have an axe. Why weren't you using it? Because I like to use I'm a squishy little guy. I'm only level 2. I only have 12 hit points. I'm standing in the back here. I'll use it but I eventually used it. Eventually killed a few, zombies. So, it worked out. So that was just a fun one shot. I had not played Swords and Wizardry, and so I was happy to. I've played variations of it, but this particular one, I enjoyed it. Joe did a great job. Had a lot of fun with that, and so definitely recommend Swords and Wizardry. I may do a deep dive for members. So if you are interested at all in becoming a member of the channel, if you're new, hey, check out all the stuff before you make decisions, right? Is this something that's worth, $3.99 a month or whatever it is to get that? Well, I can tell you this. I am going to be putting some content up there very soon. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into the Wilhelm Reach setting. And I'm going to be talking about a lot of things about that very soon. That is going to be going up in the members area, as well as some other special things. Maybe, you get things like the crit happens for being a member. Pretty sure that's going to happen. So if you say, look, this could be a value. I'm trying to make it valuable. I want to build and you guys are all part of the community. Those that are watching, you're part of the community. And as with all community, you want to be able to get deeper into the community and say, hey, I want to, whoever thinks this is of value, let's talk about some things. Maybe you can be contributors to the Hex Crawl of Horror zine that I'm kind of doing. And if you're interested in that, there'll be links down below. Shadowdark. So Shadowdark is, we played that. If you're not familiar with Shadowdark, that is by Kelsey Dion, and it is a great mashup of 5e and old school. It just has that great balance of things. And so if you haven't played it, I have a whole playlist for that. You can check that out. And well, here's Mac. Hi, Mac. How are you? Good to see you, buddy. Excuse me. And so if you have not played Shadowdark, highly recommend it. If you want, you could watch the playlist. I'll put a link down below where you can watch the sessions that we're in, that I'm playing in. And that, I'll tell you what, after running a lot of games, I spent the past 2 years really gaming hard. I mean, I was running games and DMing hard, and eventually I kind of hit that. You eventually kind of hit that wall, and so for me, I said okay, and it was very fortunate for me, I think, and it was an opportune time for me, and I think it's good for all DMs to sit and play for a while. Don't run anything if you don't have to. I'm still going to run something this month. We'll get into that. But I haven't run anything for about 2 months, and it probably was for good. If those that saw one of my videos, my mother-in-law passed away and so forth. And so this has been a very good season. And I think those of you that are DMs, that you're the forever DM, it is always good to just say, hey, I'm going to go play for a while. And I've learned a lot. Tim has been a great DM. Joe is a great DM, and playing different games. And you just need to refresh, right? You need to refresh yourself. And being around different people, playing different games is refreshing to me. And so I've learned a lot. Learned some DM tips from Tim. Max says SD is a blast. I recommend to everyone. It's simple, elegant, fun. You can do a lot with it. And guys like Flint got me interested in jumping back into hex crawling. Well, thank you, sir. I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope that you enjoy the resources. And I hope that you're going to enjoy the resource I'm going to share with you tonight, called Witches of the Blackened Earth. So this is going to be hopefully an ever-expanding thing that I'm going to be working on. And Mac, you tell me, you've read, I think you've read the hex crawl, the horror hex crawl material. I'm thinking then, do you think it is better to leave something system neutral or attach it to something? Because I'm kind of at that place where I'm thinking, do I want to go ahead and make it Shadowdark adjacent, to put the mechanics behind it? Or do I leave it? Do you prefer it to be neutral? Like, I want to use it in whatever game. I mean, I have put enough stuff in it, little fiddly bits, for you to do that. And now it's getting a little bit deeper with this Witches of the Blackened Earth, and I'm taking each of the factions that are a part of the hex crawl that are going to be built out over time. So there's going to be probably 12 different factions, 12 different zines happening over the course of the year. So I got a lot of work to do to be able to put that in there. So I need you that are in the audience, those that are watching, but also those that are watching later. So I need to make that a poll too, probably. Maybe I'll put that up in the community section tomorrow. Do you prefer it to be neutral, or do you like it attached to a system? Max says, depends on how much you want to do. I would make it open, but sidebar much of it to SD. Yeah, true. Yeah, and I think I have done that in this, and you'll see a little bit when I show you. It is easily put into Shadowdark terms. It's not meant to be complicated at all. And like I said, it's being a neutral system. Anybody can do anything what they want with it. I've tried to make it as much as I can. But being able to use it more easily for other OSE stuff would probably be a wise choice. Yeah. And I'm leaning that way. I just don't want to, I want to serve the community. And if the best way to serve the community is to keep it neutral and say use it in whatever game you want, then I'll be happy. I'll be thrilled. So let's talk about Shadowdark real quick, since we're kind of talking about that. And I keep my little notes here. So if you ever watch our live streams, you say, Paul, what are you doing? Why are you not looking? Why are you not looking at the camera, Paul? I'm taking notes. I'm a note taker. I love to take me some notes because I want to be able to. That the next time we get back together, Tim may say, so who wants to do a recap? And I'll say, oh, well, here we got this. Okay, so I know a few things, right? So I can tell you this. So the recap goes, we are leaving Hound's Head, and we are heading to Scorn. for the winter because it's just a bigger city. And there, of course, it's more urban, so there'll be some urban adventures there. It's a great time to rest, for characters to rest and do some things. We met some halfling mercenaries along the way. The Yellow Falcon mercenaries. And Millicent Stout was the commander. And so I keep these notes because I'm particularly keeping notes for Gunnery and Burns, which are the two kids that Eleanor, who recently died, whose character, defunct, wound up, they're now traveling with the group, but they're only kids, right? They're probably 10, 11 years old. But you know what? I think they're pretty bad. I think they are bad little kids. Tim calls Burns Chucky, and he is a little bit. He's become quite the I don't know how I want to put it. Quite the I don't know, sociopath. Maybe that's the word. I don't want to say psychopath, but I want to say sociopath, where he's like, I'm just dialed in. I've been through a lot, man. And I think that the part about, and this is why character death is, I think, is important, because now that that Eleanor's gone, now you have these two kids who now Tim has been gracious to work with them to fold them into the narrative of the story. So now they're like, okay, so they're remembering things like Burns is saying Millicent Stout, because in talking with Tim, I'm going to eventually go back and play Burns and or Gunnery. Burns is going to be some kind of mercenary, going to be some kind of, he's going to be something. Pit fighter. I think he's going to be a pit fighter. He's going to come back. Hopefully the timeline will advance a little bit and these guys will come back into it. And Gunnery is going to be a seer. So anyway, they are heading into Scorn. There's a lot of political unrest in Scorn that are going on. So I imagine we're going to get into that. And then we are staying at a hotel, a little, what do you say it was? Like apartments, basically. And so we're staying in a little apartment area and kind of close to the monster area. Like there's a section of the city that Tim says that it's called the Harrows, where there's just monsters. And I'm like, okay, there's a whole city full of monsters. Not a whole city, but a whole section of the city. It's nothing but monsters. And I guess the rest of the town's like, okay, that's going to be Monster Town, I guess. We'll just do that. And so we are traveling through the forest. We're getting to Scorn. We run into John from Appalachia. That's a weird place, man. I don't know what's going on with that joint, but those dudes, they're not right. Burns and Gunnery had some great interactions there, and are getting very testy. Their testosterone is growing with every game, and so eventually they get to the city gate, and they're all in line, and we're waiting, and there's this mage there, and I got to go back and find the mage's name. Tim told me, and I missed that for some reason. But anyway, the Burns goes up to him and says, "I'm sorry, what's your name?" Because he doesn't like him. He already doesn't like him because the way he was treating Blaga. So Burns is like, we're not going to have that. He's starting to make a list. Yeah, I don't know if it's a hit list, but he's starting to make a list of people that probably need to be dealt with. So he's going to do that. And so anyway, he's taking names, and it's what he's going to do. It'll come into play later, hopefully. So anyway, they enter the city. There's a few points of interest that are around there. We wound up staying at this tenant there. And my new character is introduced, and that is Taryn Doomsinger. And Taryn Doomsinger is all about the apocalypse. He cannot wait for the apocalypse. He cannot wait for terrible things to happen. He wants things to just be chaos. And his deity that he serves is Romlot. And I'll tell you real quick about Romlot. And Romlot is, let's see, he's a fighter. He wakes up in the group's apartment. He just sort of like comes off a bender, I guess, and winds up in their house, winds up in their apartment. And so Ramlot is the pillager, the barbaric, the horde. Many orcs worship him and live by the blood right, a prophecy that says only the strongest will survive a coming doom. So you can see that's kind of, I'm playing that to the hilt. The character looks like the cover of a Molly Hatchet album. And just red beard, red hair, and he's a wild man, So I'm looking forward to playing him because he's going to cause all kinds of chaos. He's going to be very much different, very different from Eleanor. Eleanor played it very safe for the most part. She played her character well, but Taryn is going to be he's going to cause some issues. I think he's kind of wild because he is all about the doom, baby. Bring the doom, and he's going to be wild. So, but that is the Shadowdark recap. So let's talk real quick. Like I said, I don't talk. I see people. I'll be honest with you. I see people that do like, and I mean, they may be by themselves, but if they're by themselves and they do 2 or 3 hours, man, I can't do that. I'm good. I'm like 30 minutes. That's really all you can endure of me, right? I mean, let's be honest. 30 minutes of just a talking head of whatever. Maybe one day I will have other people jump on who want to jump on. We'll see about that. You can leave me comments about that, whether you think that's a good idea or not. Maybe I'll invite Joe or Tim or some of these other guys and let them just come on and talk on my channel about whatever it is they want to talk about. And we'll go from there. So let me go ahead and show you then. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the newest. This is the Hex Crawl of Horror. And this is going to be the witches. And I may do a deeper dive into this. But I'll just show you the basics. And I will put the link, by the way. I'm going to put before I forget. I'm going to put the link in the chat there if you're interested. Now, I will tell you this. I have done something. I have put an actual price on this of, wait for it, $1. Because they're starting to get a little bit beefier. Because it's a setting type of thing, I put $1 on it. Just to test and say, okay, is this worth $1? Sure, everybody's going to come in and say, hey, I love the Hex Crawl, I love all the free things. And by the way, all the other Crit Happen zines are pay what you want. I said this time, I'm going to put $1 on it. Just to see if people will say, if that's too high a wall to cross, so to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. Let's see. Crit Happens. Zine. I guess it's zine number 5. And I'll put that there, and you can check it out for yourself if it is worthwhile. If you think it's worth more, by the way, there's a tip thing that you can do to say, Paul, that was outstanding. I like it already. So after you see this, you say, hey, it is something that I'm interested in. I want to keep up with this, and good for you. Good for me and good for you if you think that, right? So let me go ahead and show you then the Crit Happens, the Witches of the Blackened Earth. And so we'll go to, scroll through here. Let me make it maybe a little bit bigger. If we need to do that, I don't know. We'll see about that. We'll see if we need to do that. Okay. All right. So, Witches of the Blackened Earth, Hex Crawl of Horror. And then I give you a little introduction there. And I'll show you just quickly kind of what's in it. I won't do a deep dive. Maybe I'll do that another night. But the table of contents I give you the background on the Witches of the Blackened Earth. These are the folks who caused the issue. Okay. These are the folks who caused the problem. Okay. And how it happened. And I leave it somewhat nebulous because you can fill in the gaps for your game. I put in some very basic things in there so that you'll get the vibe and you'll get the feel for it. And then I give you the Blackened Earth Coven NPCs. So I give you 4 witches with some backgrounds. Then I created a Wasteland caster because in these 6 mile hexes, it's just chaos. It's just it's just like a wasteland. Nothing operates as normal. Everybody's kind of like, inside, hiding inside somewhere, or have some sort of encampments and things like that. So not only do we have the Blackened Earth Coven, we have three PCs. We have a Wasteland Caster. I talk about Wasteland Magic. I talk about there's a table for these things, and then you have Wasteland Spells and other witchy resources. So I put a whole resource list that you can get. And then the art. The art this time, I purchased some art this time from Jeremy Hart. And hopefully he gives me the thumbs up that I have used his art well. So here's the background. Like I said, I'm not going to get into all of it, just so that you can see the content. The content is there. And you can always go frame by frame if you really want to read it. You can do that. And then I want to show you the cool artwork. So there's the Blackened Earth Coven NPCs. You have the High Priestess, Alara Shadowheart. And they each have a cast at will spell that they can use. Now, they may have more or they may have less. That'll be up to you. But in this case, they have a spell that they cast at will. Something they can do just because they can. Then you have Morwen Nightshade and the Soul Eater. She's kind of number 2, but number 2 and number 1 are not getting along. She was once close with Elara, but no more. So we don't know what kind of chaos she's causing. Then you have the Keeper of Secrets, Anya Whisperwind, and she is pretty secretive. So nobody knows, and sometimes these witches, you don't know where they are. They could be based somewhere. They could be moving around. You kind of don't know where they're at. You could roll that on a table, and I'll include that in another. And I think I talked about that maybe in the video that I did about the actual hex crawl, about rolling where, who's in charge of this kind of 6 mile hex. But I think you can also roll separately just for where these witches may be. Where are they at now versus, are they always in the same spot? Maybe not. Maybe not. Then you have the Master of Illusion, Mirage. And then she can do all kinds of things with reality that'll be bad for your players. So then you have the Wasteland Caster subclass. I call it a subclass because you may have your own, whatever you're doing, you may have subclasses in your game. You could say, well, this is just a class. That's fine. I just call it a subclass for those reasons. Wasteland casters are arcane spellcasters who draw their power from the corrupted ley lines of the desolate forsaken land. So basically everything operates on these ley lines they run through the ground, they run through there, they're drawing this, but all these ley lines are now corrupted. So they have wasteland magic. Then they have these are unique benefits. So they have unique benefits that they have that a wasteland caster has. They can do wasteland magic, ley line affinity, wasteland walk. Let's see. They have a ley line surge. They have wasteland master. So this is basically things you can give out if you do levels. With your character, you can give these out at various levels. I think I mentioned that at the beginning. I think I say that. I say it somewhere here. Give it out like a 3rd, 5th, 7th level. If you want to give out something very particular, you can do that. And then you have, let's see. Oh, then you have Leyline Communion. And then I get into some basic little ideas you can use. Like here it is, 3, 5, and 8. It says, the more proficient your caster is with Wasteland Magic, add another no manifestation to your die roll, which we'll show you in just a minute, at levels 3, 5, 8, etc., until only one number on the die provokes a manifestation. Now, a manifestation, just like in Shadowdark, you lose your spells. If you fail, you fail your stuff. In here, if you decide to use magic, it comes with a manifestation. Something is going to happen. So your spell, you can do your spell. It's the fact that something else is going to happen in addition to that because the ley lines are corrupted. So people that keep doing magic keep corrupting the earth because things keep happening until something is solved. And maybe that becomes an adventure where you're trying to purge the ley lines of its corruption. And then it gets into the actual wasteland magic, where it comes from, what it does. And then it gets into these manifestations. It says, wasteland magic draws its power from the negative energy of the blighted land. It is a chaotic, unpredictable magic that can manifest in various forms should a spell be cast. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And you have on one of these, you're going to have something's going to happen. Either blight and decay is going to happen, causing plants to wither, animals to sicken and die, and structures to crumble. Elemental manifestation, earth, wind, fire, water act in destructive ways around you. Illusions of mind, false realities appear, manipulating thoughts and emotions of others. You have necromancy, the dead are raised and are not in a good mood. So that could be anything, and I may put some tables in here later on about rolling on various things that when we get to that point. The diabolical portent. A portal opens, allowing a creature from the netherworld to appear. So that could happen if you decide to use spells. Then this here, you have the caster roll a 1d8 to determine the direction of the manifestation. In other words, where's that going to land? A 1d6 to determine how far away the manifestation's epicenter is from the caster. And a 1d6 area for the 1d6 for the area of the manifest. So in other words, if your wasteland caster rolls, well, on the D8, it's going to be, where's it going to be? Northeast, northwest, so forth. You can plot it out. Okay? It's going to be north of you, or it's going to be south of you. It's going to be west of you, wherever it's going to be. How far north, south, east, or west? Well, is it going to be 10 feet, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 feet away? Now, what I'll do later on, and I'll maybe add this later on, is I will expand this where you can say, where it says the dice can be expanded as the caster reaches high level. So in other words, let's say it goes up to a 10 and it can be, roll higher for it to be further away. But because the danger is there, the danger of the spell, it's going to happen fairly close to you. It's going to happen 10 feet away or 20 or 60 feet away. As you get more powerful and maybe better at wasteland or controlling to the degree you can make that manifestation appear further away to where it doesn't impact the entire party. So eventually maybe you're rolling on a d20 where it's 200 feet away or whatever it is, or 2,000 feet away, whatever it is. And then the area is it going to be 10-foot area, a 20-foot area, and that's from the point of the epicenter, right? So if you're doing 5-foot squares, it'll be 4 squares up. If you do a 20, it'll be 4 squares up to top, left and right and bottom, which will then tell you whether or not any of your party is caught in this manifestation. Then you have the manifest other tables. You have the wasteland manifestation. These are the actual ones that you roll on to say, okay, so you have the 5 core ones, which is blight, elemental, illusional, dead, diabolical, and then you have the known manifestation. So at 6th level, die 6, on a 6, there's no manifestation. Nothing happens. So you roll high. Maybe, and I say this too, I think I say this here, that you can roll eventually to where there's more no manifestation. In other words, the better you get at controlling the magic to some degree, the more opportunity you have to have no manifestations. So that's, a bonus for saying, hey, I need to, I'm getting better at this. How come bad things keep happening? So under blight and decay, so I'll show you this one here, and then I'll move to another section. I won't show you necessarily all of these, because I want you to purchase it if you'd like for a whole $1, maybe a little bit more. It says, so what happens if in fact you roll on the wasteland, you do a spell, whatever spell it is, and then you roll a 1, that's blight and decay. So then you roll another die, a 6-sided dice. This is what can happen. A plant or tree suddenly withers and dies. A small creature falls ill, dies. A structure, this could be a horse, by the way. If you do that and you're too close, it could be a horse, it could be your familiar. Be careful. A structure, building begins to rot or crumble. So maybe some stairs. That would be a problem, right? A plague or disease spreads amongst animals or humans. So something happens there. If you're doing it around a lot of people, be very careful. Natural disaster, maybe it's an earthquake, flood occurs due to the blight. So it could be, and you can determine how much, right? It's going to tell you when you roll the dice. Is it going to be, is the earthquake, barely noticeable, or is it causing cracks in the earth? Is it, is it a 10, on the Richter scale? And then you have a powerful creature, monster, elemental, so forth, is summoned or awakened. So in other words, something happens in the area to where you have awakened something, and now it wants to come for you, and that will have its own table as well. We'll figure that out later. Then you have the elemental effects. You have the illusion effect. You have the wasteland more wasteland manifesto. You have the this one here, the necromantic effect table. I put some positives in there for you, like necromantic weapon or necromantic armor, which helps you. Now the other ones, not so much. But maybe I'll add some more things as we go along, different tables you can use. Then you have the diabolic incarnation, where there's devilish and terrible things that can happen. That happens to your party. And this one I like here because there are some emotional things, just like the earlier one. There are things that affect the mind, affect your emotions, affect the party's emotions, which I think is a fun little role play type of thing. And then I give you some spells. And once again, these are usable by whatever system you choose to use, and give them at various levels, or just give them to them as, part of their character's development, however you do that. And then you have some more spells there. Then I give you the other witchy resources. So I give you a bunch of links there, and then of course there's me, and that is that. So let me go ahead and jump back to this if I can. I'll come back here, and so that is my that's my newest. I need to go and get it printed tomorrow, just so I have something to show that, listen, you could print this off and make it a real deal little book in your hand that you can use. But I would like to know from you, what do you think of that? What do you think of this, the Witches of the Blackened Earth? Is that something that you might use in your game? Because I would like to know. I'm always open to, I have my own vision, so you're welcome to share and give me some ideas if you like for future thoughts. But when I create something, very rarely will I go back and edit it. I'll say, okay, that's it, done. I've done that to the best of my ability. I'll put something out in another issue maybe, because eventually what will happen, as what happens in a lot of resource developments, is you put out these little things, and then you kind of go and you make a big thing out of it, right? So that's my hope too. I hope to make a bigger thing out of it, and then maybe it will be like, at that point, make a Shadowdark version. Okay. Okay. Max says, send me an Addy and I'll share my Necromancer character sheet for PF1. You might glean some ideas from that. Okay, absolutely. Let me drop it here. My Addy is really simple. You can, let's see here. All right, let me drop it here. Give me just a second. Let's copy and paste it here. But your thoughts, Mac? Do you what did you think of the witches there? Appreciate your opinion. Give me your thoughts on what I have already. Like I said, it's going to morph. It's going to do some other things. So, and I have that too. I have first edition somewhere, but if you want to send me yours, that's fine. But I have it somewhere. Here is the email, and anybody watching can then email me if you choose to. But yeah, that's my email. You can send it to me there, and then yeah. But that's it. That's what's going on. Making progress here on the channel. Always pushing forward, always trying to get better at the things I do, at equipping those of you that run games. I might jump back on here on Thursday night because I want to talk about, and by then, hopefully I will have another video up to kind of show you kind of where we're at, because I am going to put some more old school stuff, deep dive stuff into the membership. And so we'll see. Maybe I'll come back on Thursday and talk about it. We'll see. Because I have lots of ideas for the membership that are going to be beneficial, I think, to those that are a part. But we'll see. But yeah, I think I'll go and close it off there. I think I have said all that I needed to say. I think I have covered everything. I thank you guys so much for your time and for just being a part tonight. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button. It tells me you like the video and you want more of them. And then share with somebody if you want to, right? Share Timber's over. Some of you are like, thank God, Paul. Got tired of seeing us share my video every month. And I love the fact, by the way, that the honesty on the poll that I did. And I said, be honest, how many of you, and immediately out of the gate, people voted and said, I didn't share any of your videos, Paul. I just laughed out loud. I thought that was so funny. I was like, there you go. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not mad at you. I just said, look, you got to try something different. You never know who's watching, and you never know who's going to share your stuff, and you never know who's going to get behind the work you're trying to do. And so I put it out there. Why not? It doesn't cost me anything. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just an opportunity, just like anything else, right? All right. Mac, thanks for watching. And I know there's a few of you other there that are watching as well. So I want to thank you, even though you did not put anything in the chat. That's okay. Just chill out and relax and just hang out that way. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go hang out and see what's on the TV maybe, or just hang out and chat with my wife. You guys enjoy your evening, whatever it is you're doing. Mac, thanks for the email and appreciate your encouragement. I am trying to work hard, buddy. I'm trying to get it done and serve the people, and then maybe there's a blessing in it there for me somewhere, right? So I believe in that. I believe in sowing and reaping, man. I think whatever you put out, whatever you sow, you will reap. And so I hope to sow good things into the hobby, and from the hobby, I will reap from that as well. So, all right, that is it, everybody. I'm out for the evening, and you guys enjoy your evening, and go pick up the Witches of the Blackened Earth, now available. Oh, my wife will definitely have that on, and I will probably be hostage to it. I'll probably be there. I don't like watching them. I do watch them. They're awfully they're very cringy. You know, that's me though. So anyway, God bless you, Mac. Have a good one, buddy. Enjoyed your time and your presence here. Go enjoy your evening. Have a great evening, everybody. Don't forget, link down below to all the Crit Happen stuff. Find it down there, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good day, everybody.